Settle in and enjoy the latest from Skip to Saturday. Hey, you guys. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I used to look for in a partner, how that's changed as I've gotten older, and you know what? Thank God it did. And what's important to me now in a potential partner. I was that girl who always wanted to get married. I would imagine getting married, having a great big wedding, wearing a beautiful dress, and living happily ever after. And I wanted to be a young mom too, on top of that. So I figured after I finished college, I'd get married and then have all my kids by the age of 27, 28. I never thought about what makes a good spouse. What do I want and what am I looking for? I never really thought about those things. And then growing up, we weren't allowed to date. I think this was probably really prominent in our community. It was really like dating was frowned upon. And I know times have changed now, but back then it was really frowned upon. And the way we'd find a partner would be by pointing out the guy we were interested in to our parents, or we would be introduced to someone through a family or mutual friend. So when the topic of marriage would come up, the main thing that was emphasized was that the guy had to be really educated, have a good career, and be nice. Those were the only main things that were important when it came to finding a husband, along with does he come from a good family? Is he religious? Because I come from a religious family. We're not super strict, but we are religious. So it was important to find someone who was also religious. But there was like no emphasis put on anything else. Around the age of 21, family friends started to suggest guys for me. And sometimes there was like a family that was interested in setting their son up with me. And then they'll find a mutual friend to get that conversation going. And their selling points were always he's really educated, he's making this amount of money, he comes from a good family, and he's a really good guy. And then I'd agree to take a look at the picture because they would show you the picture if you agreed to that. And then I kid you not, majority of the time I said no because I did not find this person attractive. And I need to find the person I'm going to settle down with for the rest of my life attractive. I'd get weird looks, like, how do you not find this guy good looking? I'd get weird looks like, how do you not find this guy good looking? And the thing is, like, everyone's definition of what good looking is going to be different. I learned that early on. Here's the thing. Your looks may get you in the door, but it's your personality that will help you stay, or it will give you the boot. So, like I said, I know looks are not everything, but for me, it mattered, to a certain extent. I think I said no to about 10 guys by the age of 22. And then by the time I was 23, I was stressing out about getting married because I had a plan and it was not going accordingly. I actually agreed to talk to a guy that I was not attracted to at all because at that point, I was like, I gotta find someone. I'm getting older, and at that time, girls were getting married really young. So I feel like I was behind. And I was getting asked from left to right, when are you going to get married? Have you guys found someone for Gurpreet yet? Why aren't you married? Those are the questions I would get a lot. And it just really stressed me out. And I thought maybe the reason why I wasn't finding someone to settle down with was because I kept saying to all these guys based on their appearance. So they had really good careers, and I figured maybe I just need to look past their appearance and give them a chance. So this guy that I agreed to talk to was a doctor. His dad was also a doctor. His mom was an accountant. They were really, really rich, and all his siblings were really educated. So basically, he was a perfect guy to everyone else. Even though I wasn't attracted to him, I was like, maybe he'll grow on me. But in my gut, I already knew he wasn't right for me. I just didn't know how to explain it. And when we spoke, I remember feeling no excitement at all whatsoever. I had to force myself to have a conversation with him. I remember I would get this sinking feeling in my heart because I wasn't interested in him, but I felt like I couldn't say no to him either because why in the world would I not want to be with a doctor? It was like nothing else mattered. He's a doctor. What else are you looking for? People thought I was crazy because for them, that was really, really important. And to me, yes, having someone with an education or a successful career was important, but like I also needed more than that. And at that time, I didn't know how to explain all of that. Like, because I didn't know what I was looking for. That's another thing. That's what really messed me up in my 20s, because I didn't have clarity about what I wanted. And so I forced myself to continue getting to know him, even though I dreaded talking to him every single day. And then it just got to a point where I felt like I was torturing myself. And then luckily, he shared something with me that I wasn't on board with. So that made it so much easier for me to stop talking to him. That was such a dreadful time for me because everything inside of me was screaming, he's not the one. But I kept talking to him because I was afraid of saying no once again to someone. And then saying that I wasn't attracted to him or that we don't really click wasn't a good enough reason to say no. That also wasn't the last time people were pushing guys on me. And I know that they meant well, but getting married to someone just because they have a successful career or they live close by, that was another thing that people would highlight, are not the right reasons to get married. By the time I was 26, 27, I think it started at 25 actually. I started to feel this constant pressure of like getting married. Like I should be married by now. I had this timeline on top of that. Like I had already put pressure on myself, and then I was getting pressure from everyone around me to get married. And then at the same time, I also knew that like I just couldn't get married to anybody. I also didn't know what I wanted or what I was looking for. I felt so confused, and I think that's what made it worse for me. And I think I already said this, but just not having that clarity really messed things up for me. I remember I told my sister that if I ever entertained a prospect because everyone's telling me that I should, and I'm not happy, I'm going to need you to talk some sense into me, because I was genuinely afraid that I was going to agree to a marriage proposal despite my feelings about it, because I was really, really stressed and I believed I was running out of time. And the funny thing about people setting you up with someone is that these people don't even know who you are. I mean, they mean well, but they don't know who you are at the core. And they probably don't even know the person that they have in mind for you all that well either. I personally believe that anyone who doesn't know you is not in a position to tell you who you should marry or who is right for you, because this suggestion is based on the version of you that they know. And if you're not your true authentic self around these people, then they're going to be giving the wrong suggestions, and advice. So I feel like the only people who have a say or can have a say in the situation are those that you are yourself with, that you're 100% comfortable with, because they're going to be able to spot like whether or not this is like the right person for you or not. So when I was actively looking for a partner in my 20s, I was not looking at what was going to matter in the long run. I had it ingrained in my mind that I needed to be with someone who was successful. So I was paying attention to that. He needed to be from Cali because that's where I'm from. He needed to be taller than me. I wasn't looking for someone who was 6 feet tall, but I just wanted someone who was taller than me. He had to be religious. The way he dressed mattered. He had to be a good guy. And obviously, I had to find him attractive. And then he had to be sweet and romantic. That was really important to me. And that was it. Because this is all that anyone ever talked about when it came to finding a partner. And I thought if you just looked for those things, then you'd be happy. I didn't think I needed to look beyond any of those things, because no one ever said, hey, you should also pay attention to all of these other things when you're looking for a life partner, because these qualities matter as well. I just figured if he was a nice guy, he was sweet and romantic and had a good career, then I was set. What I've learned now is that even though all those other things matter, and they're important, majority of them are not a deciding factor of having a successful marriage. For me, I need a partner who is going to respect me and make me a priority. Some people don't know how to do that. Someone who is doing something with their life. There are a lot of successful people who aren't educated, but they've got goals and aspirations and they're making things happen for themselves. That's more important to me than how much wealth this person has, because money comes and goes, and you want to build with someone. You want to have that type of connection with that person. Emotional intelligence is really important. He puts God first and he's actively working on his relationship with God. Someone who takes accountability, honors my boundaries, who has my back and stands up for me. He's consistent. I want someone who makes me feel safe, seen and heard, who calms my nervous system, and someone I can be myself with. You know, he's my home. He brings out the best in me. He makes me feel secure. He builds me up. We both build each other up. He's in it through the ups and downs, the quiet moments, the dull parts of life, because life is not always going to be exciting. You know, it's not going to be roses and rainbows. You should desire to be with someone through everything, because that's what really is going to matter at the end of the day. Because once the honeymoon stage disappears, you are going to be left with like your daily routine, the day-to-day kind of stuff, and it's not always going to be exciting. So you need to find that person that, regardless of what's happening, you're still excited to be with them. And you know how people say that communication is really important in a relationship? I used to really believe that. But what I've learned now is that it's comprehension. Because if you're not grasping what I'm telling you, then I might as well just be talking to the wall. So communication is a part of the package, but if you don't have the comprehension, then we're just going to be going in circles. So I need someone who can comprehend what I'm saying. And the one thing that I'm not sure if a lot of people really think about is the mental health side of things. Like, is this person, are they aware of their wounds? Have they been through trauma? Do they have anxiety? Have they suffered from depression? Do they have depression? And looking at all those things, how are they coping with that? Or how did they cope with all those things in the past? Are they actively healing themselves? Do they go to therapy? Did they go to therapy? What is their take on therapy? Because some people don't believe in it. I have my own inner struggles that I deal with, and I am actively working on making myself better and healing from those stuff. And so I would want to be with someone who understands that and is supportive and is 100% on board with me going to therapy if that's what I need. Because I don't want to be with someone who doesn't believe in therapy and then also kind of influences me to not attend therapy or go to therapy. So I think that's something that people should really look into and have that conversation early on, because if you don't, then it will manifest in so many different ways in a relationship. You really want to be honest and transparent about these things, because if you decide to commit to someone, like, this is something that really is going to matter. Yeah, so I think that's really, really important. These are just some of the things that I look for in a partner. I'm not going to bore you guys with a long ass list. And I believe that when we make the decision to commit to someone, it's a promise to add more value to their life and to make their life better and easier, not harder. You know, I don't want to be in a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship. This person should be making my life better. And being with someone should not be draining. And if it is, then you're with the wrong person and you should really sit down and have a conversation about that. I read a quote that said, "Whatever you tolerate while dating will multiply 10 times in marriage." Marriage doesn't fix dysfunction, it reveals it. Don't marry potential, marry reality. So if you're looking for a simplified version of the kind of partner you should pursue, I would recommend seeking a godly partner. A godly partner embodies qualities that reflect the divine. They won't be perfect because no one is. We all are going to mess up here and there, but they should have these core qualities. So it would be understanding, compassionate, forgiving, generous, gracious, truthful, honest, patient, kind, caring, loving, loyal, peaceful, your support system, and your best friend. I really think that if you have all of this, or if this is a standard that you set for yourself when you're looking for a partner to settle down with, then you're off to a great start. If you're currently with someone and you're not entirely sure if they're the person that you should spend the rest of your life with, ask yourself this: do I want this person at the very end of my life? Can you see this person being there by your side when you're old and gray? Because when we're in our 70s and 80s, right, life is not going to be the same. Our looks will have faded. The way we dress will have changed. We'll be retired. We could be really well off, or maybe just getting by financially. So we're going to be left with the person who we're going to see every single day. So who is that going to be? You know, ask yourself that question, because for me, when I asked myself that question, it really helped me figure out what was going to be important in the long run. I was curious to see what other people were looking for in a partner, so I did a little research. Men and women who were single were asked what values they considered most important in a potential spouse, and here were their answers. I'm going to give you guys the top 10 because there's 26 of them. respect, integrity, healthy communication, accountability, self-awareness, emotionally intelligent, their relationship with God, loyalty, honesty, and patience. The last thing I want to say is that if you're single and you're looking to settle down, my advice to you would be to not rush it. Because when you're choosing a life partner, you're choosing your confidant, your travel buddy, parenting partner, your advisor, your therapist, and everything in between. They will have a huge influence on your mental health, your finances, the type of relationship you have with yourself, and the type of relationship you have with your family and friends. So, really take some time to understand who you are, what your wants, needs, and desires are, and then figure out the type of person you want to add to your life. Because the person you settle down with should be adding to your life and making your life better and easier. You don't want to be with someone who makes you wish that you never got married in the first place. Don't let outside pressure influence you either. I know it's easier said than done because I've been there, but this is your life at the end of the day. When you let others sway your decision making, it can get complicated. Some people are really good at using their words to make you think that their choices are exactly what you want. And if things don't turn out the way you expected, then you've got no one to blame but yourself. And if you bring it up later, I promise you, they're just going to come back and say, well, this was just a suggestion. We didn't force you to go through with this, you know? So don't let other people dictate your choices, and just remember that you're the one that has to live with the decision, not them. And this decision will impact your entire life. I remember when I was 27, I was told by my family friend that if I didn't get married by next year, then people would think that there was something wrong with me. And it's crazy. I never really thought of it that way. And you know what? I would rather have people think there's something wrong with me than marrying the wrong person due to external pressures and timelines. It's better to be single than marrying wrong, for sure, 100%. I just want to share a quote from Mark Manson, the author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, once said, "A great spouse makes everything in your life easier. A bad spouse makes everything in your life harder. Get your relationship right. So choose wisely. Find someone who chooses you as much as you choose them." I know if I had gotten married in my 20s, that marriage would have ended in divorce. And there's nothing wrong with divorce, by the way. I just did not have clarity of what was important to me and what I should be looking for in a partner. So I am super glad that my plan did not go accordingly. I'm going to share some quick stories from people about how they knew they had found their special someone. So the first one is, we just clicked. We never ran out of things to talk about. Plus, we met a bit later in life. I was early 30s, he was close to 40. We'd both had a couple of bad long-term relationships in the past, so we both knew what we wanted and what we wanted to avoid. It's been 10 years, and we just get closer as time goes by. I think there's a ton of pressure on people to be in a relationship, any relationship to be considered successful, and that's just not true. I ended up in an abusive relationship for over a decade because I thought if I left college without a long-term relationship that I was a failure. It's okay to take time to figure out who you are and what you want before jumping into a long-term commitment and just trying to gut it out to prove that you can. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you won't know if they're the one until you know what that means to you personally. Once you invest in yourself, you can be a better partner. I knew within a few hours of hearing him talk. I knew because he was incredibly authentic, self-aware, smart, and lacking in ego. We also had the same values. I was 23 and he was nearly 25 at the time. We've been very happy together and in love for going on 36 years now. We both truly believe we are soulmates and we are meant to be together in this lifetime. My wife and I found each other via online dating. I saw her description on the site and knew immediately that this would either be the proverbial match made in heaven or a trip to Cycle Land. We shared so many interests and had gone through the same events. I was utterly floored after our first meeting at a restaurant, and she later told me that she had the same feeling. And now 20 plus years later, we are still together. She's the best thing that has ever happened to me. And the last one. I felt safe. I didn't feel wary or on guard. I was physically attracted to him, of course. That's important. I enjoyed his company and I saw that he treated me with respect. I learned about his moral values, and they were similar to mine. I saw how kind he was to everyone he met, even strangers. I observed his character, and he was honest and respectful and hardworking and dependable and kind. We had fun when we were together, and he was very cheerful. It came to a point after a few months where it was unimaginable that I'd ever be without him. He was that central to my life. So I married him. That was nearly 40 years ago. And here are some stories from people who shared when they realized that their partner wasn't the one. When he kept hurting me and I realized he was only nice to me when he needed something from me. When his breath annoyed me and his physical touch felt like bugs crawling on my skin. When I finally saw the manipulation and lies and what she was okay with doing if I didn't cater to her every need. When he hit me and blamed his anger and behavior on mental health, but he only destroyed mine in the end. When we had a fallout and she started spreading rumors about me being a bad father. And the last one. When I felt stressed and anxious being around him rather than at peace. This world is filled with so much chaos and it demands so much of us that the last thing we should ever have to worry about is our relationship with our partner. That's a place where we should feel safe and calm. So I hope that, some of these stories were a little inspiring or served as a reminder of what you should be looking for and how you should feel and how you should not feel. I came across this quote from Vex King, and I just want to share this with you guys before I wrap this up. When choosing a life partner, think beyond the romance and consider the everyday moments, the breakfast table conversations, the midnight worry sessions, the way they approach decisions, handle crisis, and approach growth. Their character will shape your home. Their mindset will influence your mental health. Their goals will chart the course of your future, and their integrity will mold the family you build together. Choose someone whose presence aligns with the life you want to create. I think this was really beautiful. It really sums up everything. I would love to hear from you guys. What qualities are you looking for in your future partner? Or if you're married, what qualities do you admire most about your partner? That's it for today. Take these insights with you because your partner will have a huge impact on your life. You deserve to be with someone who is going to be your number one fan, your support system, someone who is going to be there by your side through everything. You deserve to be taken care of and loved, valued, seen, heard, and appreciated. So wait for that person. And please, for the love of God, don't settle. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. Take care, and I'll see you guys next week.